Coffee cups clinking, soft chatter, and the faint hum of classic rock filled the air at Joe's Diner on a brisk Friday morning in Asheville, North Carolina. It was April 14th, 2023, and sunlight streamed through large windows, lighting up the cozy retro-style booths and checkered floors. Regulars lingered over pancakes and conversation, giving the diner that comforting, familiar atmosphere that made it feel like home. Among the bustling waitstaff was 23-year-old Mariah Evans, a graceful young woman with a radiant smile and gentle demeanor. Mariah had been working at Joe's for almost 2 years, charming customers with her infectious warmth and remembering every order without fail. She balanced shifts while studying nursing at the local community college, determined to build a brighter future for herself and her younger sister, Keisha. Mariah grew up right there in Asheville, raised by her grandmother Helen, a retired librarian known throughout the neighborhood for her wisdom and kindness. Helen had always told Mariah, "Baby, strength doesn't come from shouting louder. It comes from standing firm in who you are." Mariah carried those words in her heart every day. On that particular Friday, as the diner buzzed with breakfast rush energy, a new face walked through the door, catching Mariah's attention. The man, around 50, sported a crisp suit, clearly out of place among the casually dressed locals. He scanned the room impatiently, finally settling into a corner booth near the window. His sharp eyes narrowed as he observed the staff, an unsettling scowl tugging at his lips. "Morning, sir," Mariah greeted cheerfully, approaching his table with menus in hand. "Welcome to Joe's Diner. My name's Mariah, and I'll be taking care of you today. Can I start you off with some coffee?" He glanced up briefly, eyes cold and dismissive. "Yeah, black coffee. And hurry up, I don't have all day." Mariah's smile faltered only briefly, but she recovered quickly, maintaining her composure. "Right away, sir." Returning moments later with his coffee, Mariah placed the cup gently on the table. "Have you decided what you'd like to order, or do you need a few more minutes?" The customer didn't look at her. Instead, he snapped, "Steak and eggs. Medium rare steak, sunny side up eggs. And don't mess it up." Mariah jotted the order down with practiced ease, nodding. "Absolutely. Coming right up." She stepped away, but as she turned, the man muttered something under his breath, loud enough for her to hear. "Can't trust these people with anything." A flush of heat rose to Mariah's cheeks. Her heart pounded slightly faster, but she steadied herself, recalling her grandmother's calm wisdom. She took a slow breath and continued with her work, refusing to let bitterness seep into her spirit. At the grill, Tony, the seasoned cook with tattooed arms and a protective streak for his coworkers, noticed her troubled expression. "You all right, Mariah? That guy giving you trouble?" She shook her head softly. "Just the usual ignorance, Tony. Nothing I can't handle." "Well, you say the word and he's out of here," Tony grumbled. Mariah smiled warmly. "Thanks, but I've got this." 15 minutes later, she returned with the meal, perfectly plated. She carefully placed it in front of the customer. "Here you are, sir. Enjoy your meal." But as soon as he glanced at the plate, he frowned deeply. "This steak isn't medium rare. It looks ruined." Mariah remained composed. "Sir, it was cooked exactly as requested, but if you prefer, I can—" He interrupted sharply. "No, don't bother. Clearly you can't understand simple instructions, just like your kind, always messing up simple tasks." A sudden hush fell over nearby tables, diners turning discreetly to observe the scene. Mariah's pulse quickened, humiliation prickling at her skin, but she stood steady, absorbing the blow without faltering. "Sir," she began gently yet firmly, "I'm sorry you're dissatisfied, and I'd be more than happy to correct this for you." "Forget it," he spat bitterly. "I shouldn't have expected better anyway." Mariah nodded calmly, gathered the plate, and walked toward the kitchen, eyes stinging with unshed tears, but her head held high. Nearby, a regular named Mrs. Thompson, a silver-haired woman who adored Mariah, reached out sympathetically. "Mariah, honey," Mrs. Thompson whispered softly, "you don't deserve that." "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson," Mariah said, smiling bravely. "I'll be all right." Returning to the kitchen, Tony noticed her distress immediately. "That's it, Mariah. He's gone." "Wait," Mariah interrupted softly. "Let me handle this my way." She quietly prepared a fresh plate, making sure every detail was perfect. Minutes later, Mariah approached the man's table again, setting the freshly cooked meal down gently. "Here you are, sir," she said calmly, her voice steady. "Cooked exactly how you requested." The man looked up, confused, not expecting her kindness after his harsh words. His eyes met hers briefly, something flickering in them. Uncertainty, perhaps embarrassment. Mariah didn't wait for a response. Instead, she offered a polite nod and stepped back, attending other tables with her usual grace. Minutes passed, and the man's demeanor changed. He ate quietly, occasionally stealing puzzled glances at Mariah as she served others with unwavering kindness. When he finally waved her over, his tone had softened considerably. "The steak was fine," he admitted reluctantly, avoiding direct eye contact. "I'm glad you enjoyed it," Mariah replied sincerely, her voice gentle. He shifted uncomfortably, finally looking her in the eyes. "Look, I shouldn't have said what I did. It was wrong." Mariah paused, letting his words hang in the air. Then she smiled softly. "I appreciate your apology, sir. We all have our days." "You didn't deserve that," he admitted quietly, seemingly humbled. "I'm sorry." Mariah nodded warmly. "Apology accepted." Before leaving, the man placed a generous tip beside his empty plate. As he stood up, he hesitated briefly. "You're a good person, Mariah. Better than most." "Thank you," she responded softly, her heart lightening. After he left, Tony walked over, eyebrows raised in amazement. "You handled that way better than I would have." Mariah smiled gently. "Grandma always said strength is quiet. Maybe today he learned something." Later that day, as Mariah hung up her apron and headed home, she felt a deep sense of pride. It wasn't about proving herself to anyone, but rather staying true to who she was. Helen's words echoed again. "Baby, strength doesn't come from shouting louder. It comes from standing firm in who you are." And Mariah knew deep down she had done exactly that.